What is up, guys? It is me, Kwis, and today's video, you can clearly see what's going on here. It's the tier list that I was supposed to do quite a while ago. I already actually did the tier list, and that was all done on my Twitch, but that video is like hours long, like I think close to 3 hours long. So I wanted to make a video that could be properly watched, clear and concise, get all my thoughts and feelings out so you guys know you can watch the whole thing basically, and it doesn't take out a large majority of your day like other tier list videos. So without further ado, let's just get into it now. So the first thing I think I should do is sort of explain what all the tiers are, and that will sort of help understanding moving things forward. So starting from bottom up, we have this tier, which is, wait, where is he? I'm just gonna put him there now. For Kumram, we know nothing about him. Yeah, very self-explanatory. The help me tier, these characters need help. They need help. And then the B tier, these are the characters who, you know, they're clearly not as strong as the rest of the cast. They have a few major faults here and there, but what I found with Tekken is they're still viable. Like with the way Tekken 7 is, it's kind of balanced in a way where, like, even the worst characters in the game are still viable. So that's why I said B tier is like the worst besides help me. A tier, these are strong characters, minor flaws here and there that hold them back from putting the top characters in the game, but still very, very good, and you're not gonna have any problems winning with these characters if you're a solid player. A plus, these are the best Tekken characters in the game, and you'll understand what I mean by that. And then we have S and S plus, but when we get to those, you'll completely understand what I meant when I said the stuff about A plus. Now I'm gonna start with my own character first, that way you guys get an idea of sort of how I value certain things in the game. And straight up firing, he's an A tier character. A strong character in this game. He has great pressure, great combo damage, great combat potential, has basically everything you need, but he's very risky. He has to take a lot of risks. He's always committing when he goes into Flamingo and stuff, and he does have hitbox problems and issues there which do hold him back. But other than that, a very strong character, and I'll sort of be building the tier list around him when we get more to around his level. But I think that gives you a clear idea of where I'm coming from. And now let's just go on straight up to S plus, and there's only one character that's going to go into S plus, and that's Mr. Leroy Smith. Now I know we recently had the patch which nerfed Leroy quite a bit, but because we haven't really seen the implications of what that means yet, it's only been like a few days or a week since that patch came out, so I'm going to leave him where I originally put him in my old tier list placing. And as time goes on, I will update his placing. I do think he could probably fall down to A plus now with the changes, but I think leaving him here is the best thing to do now, because we don't really know how it's going to impact him in the future. And next up, the S character is Mr. Akuma. And why I said Leroy is better than Akuma in my original tier list was because Leroy made people stronger. There were people who generally got stronger when they picked up Leroy, and it completely changed, you know, it changed some of these people to, like, they could become contenders now, you know. Take a look at Evo Japan. A lot of people in the top 8 and close to the top 8, you probably never heard of them before, and you can attribute that to Leroy. So Akuma was top 1 before, but I think Leroy took that spot simply because of the strength he gave people, and Leroy worked for you. Akuma doesn't work for you. Akuma still takes a lot of execution, still a very difficult character, but has strong tools, and, you know, his weaknesses aren't really glaring. And also a difference between Akuma and Leroy is there are characters that can counter Akuma. Leroy, back how he was before, didn't really have a proper counter. There wasn't really, you know, we hadn't found the answers yet. Like Akuma, characters like Jack, Murdoch, high jab hitboxes, demon floaters, demon flippers, stuff like that. With Leroy, we hadn't found the answer back then. But like I said, this was made before the patch. This was my feelings before that, and since it hasn't been that long yet, we'll have to keep it rolling from there. And next up, in my opinion, the best Tekken character in the game. That's why these two, you know, I don't count them as Tekken characters, kind of. With the best Tekken character in the game, I'm gonna go with Mr. Steve Fox. And this was actually an idea that was put forward to me by Dinosaur, and what he basically said was, there isn't another top tier character in the game that beats up the other top tier characters as much as Steve does. When you look at the other, like, high tier characters in the game, like Jin, Law, Alyssa, like, Steve doesn't really have a problem against those characters, not the characters that are really, you know, holding him back. And when you do a thing like a tier list about how strong the character is, and because Steve has such a strong fundamental game plan, obviously got nerfed a bit from season 2 to 3, but it still exists. 1-2-1, 1-1-2, his back one is down 4-2. If you catch an opponent's timing, you're going to be having a very easy time winning games. That's why Ni was so good with the character. His fundamentals were so strong that all it took was just using his key moves at the right time, and he was able to win so many games with him. So yeah, I believe Steve, best tech character in the game. And then moving up next, we have Mr. Paul Phoenix. A lot of people know about Paul, you know, a lot of people know about Paul. His death fist, his damage, everything else is super strong. And also when it comes to moving around him as well, moving around is actually quite difficult because of the way Paul's game plan is and the moves that he has. Trying to step him and get around him just by Paul doesn't have to do anything extra to try and catch people stepping. He just has to continue doing what he's doing anyway, which makes it very difficult to get around Paul. And also with his amazing damage output, great punishment, great combo damage, it really elevates him to the highest tiers of the game, especially when you look at how season 3 is put up now. Damage is so important in season 3. Getting that launch into damages, it's so important. You only get a few chances in this game if you're getting launched as well, and against a character like Paul, you have even less chances, and why I think he's still such a strong character. And then next up, we have Mr. Jin Kazama. Jin, still very, very strong in this game. For my money, last season, he was the best character in the game. I think he was the #1 character in the game. He was well-rounded. He had everything, literally everything. There wasn't anything he lacked. You know, electrics as well for plus frame launches. And then he had his hook version, which is the mid electric. It's punishable, but it is a mid. Like, he had everything. Great lows, forward 4, counter hits, his stature kick. He had the only launching stature kick. I'm glad they took that away. But he had literally everything, and it really truly showed. And to win with Jin season 2, all you needed was just a bit of forward 4, just a bit of forward 4, coupled in with some movement and fundamentals. He did get nerfed a bit from season 2 to 3. You know, some of the really stupid stuff was taken away, like forward 4 has to go into Zen, down back 4 only knocks down now into a guaranteed follow-up the way it should be. But still a very strong character in this game. Still top 5 for my money, shows it right there. And you know, not much more to re-say about that. And next up, we have the best female character in the game. Best female character in the game. Can you guess who it is? It's Alyssa. It's Alyssa. This character's stupid. This character's stupid. Really stupid. Super safe. Great approach tools. Great punishment. Great whiff punishment with the new is it back 4-4 or back 3-3? I think it's back 4-4. Maybe I'm thinking Claudia. Back 4-4. Great whiff punishment. A very explosive rage drive. Like, she has everything you need. And then you have destruction. Is it destruction or destroyer stance? I forget what it's called. The chainsaws. Super safe. She can still block in that stance. Like, there isn't anything. When I look at this character, I'm like, what? Why? I have to ask myself why so many times when it comes to Alyssa. Super safe and could just go gorilla if she feels like it. I don't really want to talk more about Alyssa, but that's really what it all comes down to. Great approach tools, great punishment, great poking, super safe as well, and really isn't really lacking anything. And then moving on, we have our next 2D, and that's Mr. Geese Howard, someone who I've never thought is exceptionally strong, or I've always thought he was good. You know, always been a top 10 character since he came in the game for my money, but I never really said, no, Geese is super strong, Geese is #1, but I've just been good against the character, I feel like. Hwaryang has great option select for Geese, so I've never really seen that as he is the big bad wolf that a lot of people saw him as. But I do understand why he's strong, and why season 3 I think is so good for Geese is, yes, they took away the dick jab, and the dick jab days were actually awful, but they've now made it where Geese can now kill you in a touch, if he has the meter, provided he has the meter. Obviously that did get nerfed, but when smart Geese players that can build the meter are going to still be fine this season, they'll still be fine. And then just 1-2 forward 1, and this is curtains. It really is curtains. And like I said, damage is so important. this season, it is so important making Geese such a danger this season. And moving on back to the 3D landscape, we have Martial Law, a character last season, a lot of people saying top 3, top 5, like one of the best characters in the game, SSSS tier. And I don't see that as much this season. I don't still feel that Law is that character, but he is still super good. Probably the best down forward 2 in the game. Great magic 4, great lows with like down back 3, a good hop kick, good combo damage 2. They did nerf his Dragon Cannon Ender, but he still has great mix-ups and great potential in this game. And like I said, combo damage still good. And if you could do the max damage combos as well, which are a bit harder, you're really going to be, you know, squeezing as much damage as you can out of Law. And he's still a very, very good character in this game, and still, you know, character who doesn't really have a bad matchup. Steve can give him some trouble. I used to think it was actually the other way around, like Law destroys Steve, but after watching Nee play players that are double and low high and all the Law players, I really think that Steve does give Law a bit of trouble. But if anything, it's an even matchup. It's more of a 5-5 matchup, which Law doesn't have many of. Law's normally in favor in most matchups. So that's all I really have to say about Law. And then next up, we have, I'm kind of speeding through this because I don't want this video to be too long. We have Sergei Dragonov, Mr. 2 button, running 2 and down 2. Very, very strong character in this game. You know, I think the worst thing about him is probably his punishment. I don't think his punishment is that great. Yes, he has a 15 frame launcher with his downfall 2, great range on it. But you know, for 12, like between 12 and like 14, he doesn't really have anything great, you know. It just gives him like plus frames into mix up, which is okay. But you know, there's no real like, you know, knockdowns like a character like Jin or Paul or Law would have, for example. So I do think that's probably not a great thing in this game. But still, other than that, very, very strong character. His running 2 is a great approach tool. I've been saying this since season 1, don't need to say much more about it. His wall carry got nerfed for some reason. I don't want to get into that. I don't know why they nerfed that and not while setting 1-3, but that's a story for a different video. But yeah, his wall carry is still good. If you play a Dragonov on Howard Estate, you know, things can really start to pile up on you and it hurts. And his damage is really good. And like I said, damage is so important in season 3. Not really much more to say about Dragonov other than that, you know, he has basically everything you want in a character besides, you know, maybe lacking a hop kick or something. But he does have up forward 4, you know, which is a great panic move, which is a good mid tracking panic move, low crush. It's got a lot going for it. And then next up, we have the next best female in the game, in my opinion, and that is Julia. Julia Chang, you know, season 2 character, came back. I think the best season 2 character by far. In terms of fan response, best season 2 character. But I think such a great character in this game. Her full crouch mix-up potential is amazing. If you've ever played Fergus before, you're just gonna get mixed because that's just how it works. Great conditioning character. If you can get the execution down for the combos, you're gonna be having a great time with this character. The best wall carry in the game, straight up. She has a great throw game as well, which is something that's quite underrated. Great punishment too. Like, she has everything you are looking for in a character. Great approach tools as well, like forward 1 and running 1. A lot of her approach tools are high. That's a bit of a weakness, but she does have to like forward 1 to keep you in check, which I think is really, really important to have as well. And you know, like I said, good lows, and she really has everything going for her. There's no real major weakness to this character. I find, you know, besides her lack of safety on some moves, some of her key moves as well. She goes -14 quite a bit, but you know, in some matchups it's not really a problem. Like I said before, Dragonov, you know, not really a great 14 frame punish. Barring as well doesn't have a great 14 frame punish. So you know, things aren't always doom and gloom when it comes down to Julia. And next up, we have a character that's going to explain my real philosophy for how I run this tier list, and that is Mr. Brian Fury, the man with the laugh, the man with the steel bar beam thing that he walks around with. Now, I see Brian get underrated a lot on tier lists, like a lot. Like I don't know, but I think what people are taking into account when it comes to these characters, to Brian as well, is his difficulty, and you know, you have to be so on point to play the character. But when it comes down to this tier list, I'm sort of basing it on the assumption that the characters being played at their optimal level. They're being played at like their max potential. they won't really be dropping anything and stuff like that. And with that in mind, Brian is one of the scariest characters in the game. You don't want to wake up against Brian. Like, if you're on the ground, it's a horrible situation. You stay down, you can get flipped with QCB4. You get up, you can get taunted. You know, he has great options like taunt back 4, and then obviously taunt jet upper as well. Nice 14 frame launcher. That is obviously a bit of execution, but like I'm saying, this is the character being played at their absolute best. So with that in mind, Brian definitely deserves this position on the tier list. And the next character is probably someone on like the opposite end of the spectrum to Brian, because Brian you have to be so on point with your execution and stuff, and there's someone who's a bit more lenient with. You can have a bit more fundamental. I mean, your fundamentals are so strong, is Kazumi. And why Kazumi is still strong in this game is because she keeps getting nerfed every season, but they just can't. I feel like they want her dead, but they just can't do it. They just can't kill Kazumi. Like, her 1-1 is so good, her down for 1 so good. Like, she has some of the best poking, and obviously being a female character as well, smaller hitbox, great movement to go along with it. So just down for 1 sidesteps, jab sidestep is so good, and then the down back 4s, and then forward 3-2, which is added in season 2, is such a good whiff punisher as well. She really has everything you are looking for in just this pokey style fundamental get to grips with the character game plan. It's why you find she's like the only character in the game, you can use that helps you get carried by your fundamentals, if that makes sense. And why I say that is, if you know the UK player Asim, normally whenever he loses first game and he's not playing Kazumi, it used to be he'd always go with Geese first, and he lost with Geese, he lost first game, he'd always go to Kazumi. Because then he just lets his fundamentals shine, and that is what is so good about Kazumi. I think she scales to your fundamentals so great in this game. And she's still a good character in this game. Like, yes, stuff like back 2 getting nerfed and hot knee isn't great, but that's not really stuff that she needs in the grand scheme of things, I don't think. And the next up we have the man from the Middle East. I was gonna say the man from the East, but the Middle East. From the Middle East? I don't know. I should look these things up before I say things. Shaheen. Yeah, another character who I think every season has actually been getting buffed, which is fine, because as long as he's not the 4-1 machine, you know, Mr. Helicopter that he was back in Tekken 7 Vanilla, I'm completely fine with Shaheen being in the game. I do find him quite a boring character, but he is exciting in the right hands. Like, I always love watching AK Shaheen, one of my favorite players to watch. AK from the Philippines. He is truly amazing to watch because he's just a nut. But yeah, Shaheen, very safe character. He has a good full crouch mix up. I do think his full crouch mix up is slightly weaker than Lars, because the difference is they both have the while standing 2 launcher, but Lars has pushback and Shaheen's doesn't, meaning, sorry, no, everyone can launch Shaheen's, but not everyone can launch Lars because of the pushback, which I think is just makes the full crouch mix up a bit more deadly. But with season 3, while standing 3-3 being now minus 13 now, I believe. I think it's 13 or 14 instead of, no, it's 13 because it was minus 15. Now it being minus 15, that's a great option back to the wall. Wall splats for good damage. Obviously, the thing with his slide is his slide always switches sides. So that does like sort of weaken his, you know, full crouch mix up. With the new guaranteed hit, after it, I think Shaheen, you know, he has a contingency plan for a lot of his things going on, and also strong punishment going from as well. An all around very good character with, you know, not too many holes in his game plan, and yeah, a very strong character in this game. And not really much more to say about that, because next up we have someone who I don't very often see at the highest spots of tier lists. I feel like everyone always underrates this character, but that's King. For my money, King is so underrated in this game. He is definitely one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion, because there is not much that he lacks. He has amazing punishment, back 1-2 for 12 frames, his 15 frame hop knee, his while standing punishment, while standing 2-2, and obviously his full crouch down forward 2 as well. His lows are quite good as well for opening you up. Well, his lows aren't that amazing. Better than Armor King though, but everything's better than Armor King. If you play Armor King, just play King. But yeah, and obviously the best throw game in the game, to the point where they become mix-ups, because some of the throws you have to guess, like Giant Swing and his crouch dash, you generally have to guess on the options, and then when you start, you don't want to start guessing anymore, you start ducking, and when you duck, you get launched. So great mix-up intro there coming from King. And just all around good damage on his pokes as well. Like he has great damage on his poke. I think his jabs do good damage. His wild side 4 has good damage. So those are just your generic 10 and 11 frame punishes, which King has very, very strong options with. And then next up we have the other grappler, and that's Murdoch. And Murdoch is Mr. Best Oki in the game. There is not a character in this game that has scarier Oki than Murdoch. If you stay down, you're going to get thrown, and one of the throws is a launcher. If you back row, you're going to get launched. If you tech row, you're going to get tackled. Like if you've ever played, there's an Irish player called John who's he's a Murdoch specialist. He knows what he's doing with this character, and for every different knockdown he gets off certain moves, like he has his go-to Oki option which beats like 2 out of 3 of your get up options and stuff like that. Like it's a very, very scary way to play. So a very strong character in this game. Has a lot going from great standing punishment, while standing punishment not so much, but other than that, I do believe a very, very strong character in this game with a lot going for him, and I'm scared of getting up against Murdoch. And that's going to wrap up the A+ tier. Next up, we're going to go down to A tier, and the top of A tier and best Mishima in the game is Kazuya. I used to believe, well, I say believe, but it used to be Devil Jin was the best Mishima by far. That's how it used to be, but Kazuya's been so get buffed every single season. I think we've got to a point where he is the best Mishima. Giving his new back to 2 string, I think it's back to 2 string, like has given him so much more access to so much more damage. And it's season 3, damage is very important in this game. And meaning, you know, with down forward 2, he can still go for perfect election. If he messes it up, he's still going to get great damage off of it. His mix-up potential is still amazing. Obviously, you know, side walking left is your bread and butter against Kazuya, but like I said, this tier list is prefaced on the fact that this character is being played to their utmost ability. I feel like that sentence was right. To the utmost. So you're going to be wave dash realigning everything. You're going to be doing all that, so it makes it very difficult to play against. And he's just a monster to play against, you know, with such great mix-up potential. And he can be such a strong rushdown character if he needs to be, and just strong pokes that really keep him in the game. And obviously his punishment, you know, doesn't have anything lacking really there as well. You know, 13 frame launch if you do it perfectly. And obviously his Vast Center 1-2, his twin pistons, you know, he has great punishment. And then moving on, we have Devil Jin just behind him. I do believe these two are close. Hwarang, get out of the way. Hwarang, there we go. I do think these two are close in terms of their strength, but I think Kazuya just edges it now. With the nerfs Devil Jin's been getting over every season, I do think, you know, not many people want him. Kazuya has edged him out just a bit. But he's still a very, very strong character, has great panic moves. The best hell sweep in the game, you know, is the launch. Well, it's the best launching hell sweep. But like knockdown hell sweeps, Leroy has the best one. And then it's Leo. But yeah, still a very, very strong character in this game. They're trying to keep him down, but he still persists. I do think he has been knocked down. Like when I look at the characters at A+, I do think Devil Jin has been knocked down a bit compared to those other characters, but still very, very strong, has everything going for him, and his Mishima game plan is still very good. And then next up, we have Mr. Hopkick himself, Claudio. No, you're over here, Claudio. Claudia. Mr. Hopkick himself, one of the best war games in the game, you know, with his sidestep 4 being +6 on hit now, forcing crouch. Can't really push a button after it. So when you're back to the wall, you get hit by, you know, you have sidestep 4, then sidestep back 1, and then sidestep then down for 3, which they made easier to hit confirm now. His damage is also really good. He has great combos this season. Back 3-3, a new string that was added as well, guaranteed on counter hit, and the second hit being a counter hit launcher. There's a lot going for Claudio this season. I do think when season 3 first happened, a lot of people were like, oh my god, Claudio's top 10. Claudio's like, he's so good now. I do think a lot of people were like losing their minds. I think he was the most buffed character from season 2 to 3, but they didn't really like move him up that much. Like with the strength of some of the other characters in the tier list, Claudio relatively, you know, still looks not that great. Like he's still a very good character, but not as good as like those characters in A+ and obviously S and S+, but still very, very good character. And you know, stuff like making this down back 3 -15 instead of 16 means some characters like Hwarang can't launch him for stuff like that now, so just adding a bit to his safety. But Claudia's probably major weakness is, you know, clawing back a life lead, because his lows are just not that good, besides sidestep 4 really, but you know, it comes out of a sidestep that's a bit telegraphed, I guess. Besides that, it's very hard for Claudia to properly open you up with lows. But great whiff punishment with his hop kick, great, he can just run into you to the wall a lot. So yeah, still a strong character, but you can start, thing with 80s, you can start to see the flaws coming in with certain characters. More they become more prevalent. And then next up we have Asuka, Miss Gorilla, I like to call her. So unga bunga online, so the unga is bunga with this character. But no, yeah, good character in this game. Worst 10 frame punish, with her single jab, but I think the rest of her punishment makes up for it. 12 frames, 2-4. She has a nice down forward 2. I think 17 frames is her forward 2, and it's a great whiff punisher as well. And because it's so fast, you don't really be whiffing against Asuka, and also it can be cancelled, so there's a lot going on there for the character. Good lows as well to open you up. Very good rage drive. You don't want to stay down against Asuka because he's going to get spiked, and also because it comes out so fast, and the plus frames on it as well, force and crouch. There's a lot going on when it comes to that. Good launches, good mix up as well, stuff like her arc blast and down 1+2 up close, great mix up potential there. And I think best panic moves in the game in back 3 and can-cans. The thing with back 3 is with it being obviously with the float, the go back on it, I'm gonna call it go back. The go back on it, she can't be punished all the time for it, and it is a launcher. I had to stop the recording for a second to go and fix something, but yeah, Asuka, I forgot what I was saying, but she's good. Yeah, strong panic moves, good mix-up potential, and great damage, which is always important for this season. And the next up we have a character who I don't really understand the hype for. As I was going through the list, there's probably a character you expected to see around A+ or like top of A, and that's Athena. I don't really see the hype for this character. I don't know why people are saying she's best female. She's top 10, she's top 5, she's top 3. I understand she has best movement in the game, and her pokes are okay. Her down for 1's very good. Down 3 probably the best low poke in the game. But other than that, I don't really see what is with this Athena, because stuff like her down forward 1, when she does it on block, just always duck, because if she does down forward 1-4, you could duck and launch. And she does down forward 1-2, down for 1-2-1 isn't natural, so the second hit will hit, but then the last hit doesn't mean anything. You just punish for it. Like, I don't like, yeah, her down for 1 hitbox is really good. It picks up Eddie's relax, like, it's really good, but no, I don't really see it with Athena. Her punishment's not that great. She doesn't have a 15 frame launcher. Her down forward 2 16 frames. It does crush a lot though, like with the way she like spins in the movement and stuff. But yeah, her movement's good. She evades a lot. She has okay damage. I don't really think her damage is that good, but I don't really see the hype around Athena. I really don't. If someone can educate me, that'd be great, but I can't see it personally. And then next up we have Hachi. Hachi's still a strong character in this game. I say still, people never really saw him as one of the best. Like, he's always been like the worst Mishima. Season 2 was like his big break, right? Season 2 I was like, oh shit, Hachi, he exists, he's a character. The thing about Hachi is just the sort of the difficulty required to play him. He doesn't really have normal launches inside reasonable frames. That was something he never really had. If you want to launch while standing, you have to do electric. Forward 2 is not used as a punish except for Akuma's down 4, and if you want to launch while standing, you had to crouch cancel electric, and that was really it with Hachi. They did add a new while standing launcher for him in season 3, but the execution for it is so tight, it's weird that they'd even give it, because it's still a struggle for him. But it's like I said, these characters have been played at their top potential. That's not really an issue on this tier list, but still Hachi's very good. I mean, a lot of his lows are death on block, but they are still good lows regardless. Down back 2 is full crouch, down forward 4, I think. But he probably has the worst health sweep out of the Mishimas. Has to be a counter hit launcher, or has to commit to the full strings, or the second one now, if blocked, is safe. You can only dick jab it now. Hachi's still a very oppressive character. There's like stuff that's forward 4, like just abuse you with plus frames, and he can poke you down, and he's still a good character in this game. And then next up we have Master Raven, a character that's very difficult for me to talk about because she's so weird. I think Master Raven's very weird in this game. She does have very good tools and great evasion, and, you know, great mix-up, especially with her back turn stance and stuff. But when I watch Raven play, I just don't understand what the game plan is. I don't understand what the idea is there, but she's still a very, very strong character. And regardless, I can obviously see that, you know, watch Tishimon play, you know, watch Go Attack play, watch these top Raven players play, and you'll really understand. One of the best rage drives in the game, low crushes, I think it's 14 or 15 frames, very, very fast. And it's one of those explosive rage drives that really catch you off guard and, you know, designed to just steal a lead back. She does have a lot going for a good punishment too. It's okay. Actually, no, it's not. The punishment's not that great, to be fair. I think her down for 2 is actually 16 frames, and for while standing, she has a 14 frame launch with her while standing 1, so that's quite good to have as well. But other than that, you know, her fundamental tools aren't really what keep Raven in the game. I think it's just her, you know, all around poking and evasiveness and, you know, great mix-up potential that really makes Raven such a strong character goers in this game. Good in short and long sets because of it. And then next up we have Josie. She's good. But yeah, no, Josie is a good character in this game. I've been saying that a lot. I'll be saying bad soon, hopefully. Well, there are no real bad characters in this game. Well. But yeah, Josie, another strong character in this game. She has a good low poke and down force. Damage isn't great, but, you know, +1 on hit, build it at plus frames, safe on block, and great punishment. Josie has really, really good punishment. Her 10 frame 122 +9 on hit, good damage. Then for 12 frames she gets knockdown. 14 frames she gets access to a launcher with rage, but it's a knockdown anyway. Gives a little mini combo. Very, very good down forward 2, one of the best down forward 2s, probably the best unsafe down forward 2. I say Law has the best safe down forward 2 and she is the best unsafe down forward 2. Obviously, if it was safe, it'd be so ridiculous because of the range on it, the way it crushes, because of the way she goes under. She does a little uppercut motion as well. Hop kick was also a nice addition to go along with that. And switch stance is also really, really impressive in this game. Obviously every option besides switch 1 can be jabbed, but if you do try and jab switch 1, you're gonna get counter hit. So that keeps you away from doing that. I think Josie is one of the best designed new characters in the game in terms of the way she's played. Obviously she did come from an existing character, so there is that to come from it, but I digress. Very, very good character, and I don't have anything more to really say. Oh, and also damage as well, and wall carry. But I feel like mentioning damage and wall carry in season 3 is just a bit unnecessary because a lot of characters have that now. But I think when I mention damage, it more comes from the fact that yes, their damage is good. Because if I don't mention damage, it doesn't mean their damage is bad. It's just because everyone in season 3 has good damage this game, barring a few characters. And then next up we have Mr. Bob Richards. His major flaw being that he doesn't have access to a 15 or 16 frame launcher. Down by 1 + 2 is 17 frames, right? I'm gonna check that. But yeah, that's probably his major weakness. But I think with the way he is now, you know, he's a far cry from how he was back in Tekken 6 when Crouch Dash 1 was a launcher, his down forward 2 was a launcher, I think his down 1 + 2 or the chop launched as well. He's a far cry from that as well, but still a very, very strong character, you know. The mini Mishima has a great wave dash push with his hell sweep, and then stuff like you can go for the uppercut if you feel that, but he has safer mid-launching options as well, to stop you from being scared of ducking. If you ever watch DBP play, the German Bob player, I think he really has a great idea of how to really utilize the Bob rush down offensive style, and it really shows. And yeah, very, very strong character in this game. Can be a bit unsafe, but if you really like commit with Bob, you're either gonna kill your opponent or kill yourself. Those are the two things that are gonna happen. But still a very, very strong character in this game. And one of the best power crushes in the belly blast, because the belly blast it evades jabs for some reason. So it evades highs, so meaning if he can go for setups where you're gonna jab check, well, he knows you want to jab check, and then he'll do the belly blast, which will evade your jabs, and then you get hit by it, and he hasn't taken any damage for throwing out a power crush. So that's something to keep in mind when playing against Bob. And then next up we have Leo Cleasons. So Leo is a character that you don't really see much, and a lot of people attribute to the fact that she is boring. A lot of people say she's a boring character. I kind of agree, but when you watch, there's a very good Leo player in the UK, Eddie, and when you watch him play, you really see, okay, this character is really exciting actually. Like she has the parries, her box stance when it goes under stuff and then goes for launches and stuff. And if you know how to really utilize the character, it's an exciting character. Before, Leroy had the best health sweep in the game. First hit, a counter hit launcher, and if you commit to the whole string, it doesn't need to be clean hit. You know, great lows to poke you down, great approach tools with her lows as well, with her snake dash as well. A good down forward 2, doesn't launch crouches and is unsafe, but because of the way she steps back after doing the down forward 2, that's not really a problem, I guess, because some characters actually can't punish it if they don't have a longer range option and it is spaced correctly. Great poking character. Major weakness probably being quite linear. So unless she's doing a lot of home moves to keep you in check, you can get around a lot of her options and launch her for it. But other than that, if you're playing her correctly, I think you'll be fine. And it'd be great to actually see more Leo, because she actually is quite an exciting character, regardless of what people say. And then next up we have Mr. Lee Chaolan. Lee, the hero. I like to call Lee Tekken's protagonist, because when he started out, he was like here. You know, he was like here when we started out in season 1, but slowly every season I think he's been climbing and climbing. Although he did get nerfed in season 3 for some reason. I do think Lee is a strong character. He just requires work. I think he's one of the most balanced characters in terms of work and payoff. If you put the work in with Lee, you're gonna get the payoff. You know, just get his execution down, a few things here and there. One of the harder characters to learn this game, but I think once you've got him down, you're gonna be fine if you're competent at the game. Great pokes, down 3, high crush, counter hit launcher. Obviously launch on block for a lot of characters in the -15. But great wall carry, great damage, you know, mention it again. Wall carry and damage. Great punishment. Obviously, you know, he has acid rain for 10 frames, you can get that down. He has knockdowns 12 frames, I believe, and you know, normal 15 frame launcher. You know, very, very standard character, but very strong if you get in tune with the character. He's one of those characters. I think the thing about A-tier characters for a lot of them is you don't really want to pocket them, because they kind of require a lot more effort to really get to grips with them, and not really used as counter picks, you know. Like, you know, Hwarang, Hachi, you don't really see Kazuya, you don't really see the characters as, you know, counter picks put in the pocket, because I think they require, you know, a lot of commitment to get to grips with. I think that's all what separates A+ and A tier. You know, besides a character like, I think besides Brian and King and Murdoch, most of A+ you can pocket and you'll be fine as long as your fundamentals are there. I think that's a bit of the drop off between A+ and A. And also just overall strong characters. And then next up in A, we have a character who initially I wanted to put here. This character I wanted to put down here because I don't know where they should go in the tier list. I never really know that, but after hearing from other people and a few opinions here, they said Yoshimitsu should go in A tier, and I do understand why. A strong character, you don't pocket him, you do not pocket Yoshimitsu. Strong character, his punishment's very good. I think 1-1, his 10 frame is actually a very, very good 10 frame punish, for what it's worth. Knockdown at 13 frames, I believe, with back 2-2. Down 4-2 launcher. He has no just good generic pokes. Actually, no, I think that's 14 frames actually, back 2-2. I'll verify that later. One of the most annoying no pokes and his sweep. You know, and obviously he has all the unblockables and shenanigans and stuff, and that's why I find it hard to place Yoshi on tier list, because he has so many shenanigans. But he can be played in the fundamental game plan. Like if you watch Kane the Trench play, he doesn't really like do any of the crazy iMusician stuff. He is just sticking to, I'm gonna play some Tekken, and you know, he does well with Yoshi, he does well with the character. You know, whether it's the character or the player, who knows? Well, it's the player. The player is very good. But yeah, Yoshi, a character I struggle to place on tier list, but a lot of people believe this is a position for him, and I'm inclined to agree. And the next up we have Nina Williams, one of the more, why do I always put more? One of the harder characters to learn in this game. I do feel like she does take a lot of effort. When you play her, you are cancelling a lot of things, and you're, you know, doing a lot of movement, and her higher Shida step is also very important to keep in mind. But does have strong fundamental tools, you know, good pokes. Her forward 4-4. This is the thing, I need to learn the inputs. It gets really annoying when I don't know the inputs, especially when I commentate. When I do not know inputs, I just follow. I look at the limb and I guess. I look at the limb and I guess when it comes to inputs. But her knockdown at, I think it's 13 or 14 frames, very good, you know, good launcher. She has a power crush from full crouch, which is very important. or moves like Warring's while in 4-4, which put you in full crouch, because it gives you a way to get out of that option. Get out of the mix-up relatively safely. You know, also you are taking a bit of risk, but that is something that is nice to mention. One, the explosive rage drives I talked about before in the past, low crushes, and also, you know, just great wall push, great at wall stage as well, you know, pushes you back. And if it's blocked, the mix-up is quite good. And if it hits, wall splat, you know, very, very important tool to keep in mind when it comes to Nina. And the next up we have Jack 7, who is, I believe, in a very good spot right now. You know, before, when we saw him all the time, it wasn't really, you know, he was just so, you know, down back 1, 2 jab, 2 jab, 2 jab, tombstone, 2 jab, down forward 2 jab. Although that is basically how he is now, I think by giving him new moves and new variety, he's become more entertaining to watch. But I think like nerfing stuff like his jackhammer, like they did from season 2, I think really, you know, took a toll on Jack, because it meant that you can sort of, it depends whatever you were looking to step, you had a direction you should always be going against Jack. It's very simple to play against Jack, I found. If you wanted to evade his down back 1, you would be going to the left, and if you wanted to avoid his down forward 2, you wouldn't go to the right. Those are always the two moves I kept in mind when playing against Jack. Like jackhammer, you could go both ways against it. It was those two moves that you saw in my mind that I was always playing around in learning how to move against that character. So I do think nerfing jackhammer was something that really hurt Jack and moved him down from like the top tiers to around here. Still a very good character in this game though, regardless. Great generic tools, great poking, great punishment as well, still keeping him in the game, and you know, still, you know, a run-of-the-mill strong character in this game. Nothing else to really say about that. And the next up we have the character who I wouldn't actually put lower on in the tier list. I wouldn't put them a lot lower, but from talking to specialists of this character and people who knew this character a bit more, they felt like he should be put here, and that's Lei. I would normally put Lei in B tier, but from hearing from Lei specialist Frog from Italy, he believes Lei is actually quite a good character in this game, probably the best Lei's been in a while. I think a lot of it came down to his down back 4-4, because that move is so strong and so important. You're already scared, like from the moment the match begins or something like that. I mean, you're already ducking against Lei, meaning, you know, the mix-ups are already in your favor moving on. And also with his shenanigans as well, great evasiveness, it does really mean you have to, some characters you have to play in a certain way against Lei, especially if the characters with hitbox issues and stuff like that, they can struggle in this matchup because of just how Lei plays. So yeah, very, very strong poking. I don't really know much about it, but Frog seemed adamant that this was a good position to put him in. And then next up we have Negan and Miguel. I put them like right next to each other simply because there's been a lot of back and forth when it comes to Negan and Miguel, because when Negan came out, he wasn't good, and my conclusion, a lot of people's conclusion, was just play Miguel instead. Like, they're both Miguels. Just play the better Miguel, and that is Miguel. But as Negan's been buffed and Miguel has been nerfed, Negan has sort of climbed to almost close to him. I know a close friend of mine who's a Miguel main says that Miguel is still better than Negan, but Negan still has a lot going for him, and he does. You know, good punishment, 1-2-4, great damage for a 10 frame punish, knockdown at 13, and his down for 2 has great range. His intimidation stance got buffed, meaning he has lows out of it now. Obviously it's a throw as well. Good power crushes as well, which is something I rarely talk about, but it is important because of, you know, launch is not cool. I think it's 1+2. I forget. Launch, obviously it is launch punch 1 block, but you know, great interrupting pressure. And his lows are all right as well. Down back 4 now being -14 is a very, very big change, because a lot of the cast now can't launch him for that. And Miguel as well, by getting nerfed, you know, Sab down 4-2 having less pushback, I think that makes him more fair. If anything, they did buff Sab 2, making it safe, which I think was a very, you know, unnecessary buff, but whatever. His new low isn't fantastic, but against characters that don't have a 15 frame launcher, there's no reason not to really throw it out. So yeah, for me, they both compete for a spot. This is actually the only change I made from my original tier list to this one now, because I do feel like they are like this right now, and you know, I don't really know what to really do about them. And then next up we have Noctis. Noctis, a character, someone who's become a Tekken character. When he came in the game, he wasn't fantastic. Like, down back 1+2 and down back 2 was like everything. Obviously he was just an online character before. Down back 1+2, down back 2, you know, duck or don't duck, guess, see what happens to you. And now they've they nerfed that, you know, making those moves a lot more linear, but they buffed him in more fundamental ways. So giving him a nice poke in down 2, giving him a full crouch mix up with full crouch down forward 1 compared to, and opposed to full crouch down forward 2 as well. He's a bit more safer now. Noctis does have a lot going from the season, you know, a viable character. Fantastic punishment as well. 1-2-2, good 10 frame. Back 1-2, good 12 frame. Is a nice 14 frame knockdown as well. Obviously 15 frame down forward 2. I think best with punishment in the game. It's 15 frames so fast, and it covers so much range as well. And he has nice damage off it now with the new additional combos he gets. So, you know, Noctis, a character that can really compete this season, and it's nice to see that. And the next up we have Ling Xiao Yu. So this is a character who I'm always saying is bad, I guess. I'm not saying bad, but I find there are so many people who like complain about Ling and say she's so good, she has all this going for her, but I think when you look down to it, Ling isn't that fantastic. Yes, she has probably top 5 Oki in this game, you know, because it's so difficult to get because of all the options she has, launches and low options, and you know, if you stay down you can get hit by this and stuff. She has good fundamental tools as well for her punishment, and obviously good mix-up potential in general and with her back turn stuff. But I think one of the things that really lacks in Ling, and especially when I watch her, is her damage isn't good. Especially compared to other characters in the cast, her damage is the one thing I look at like that's not that great. And she also can be very unsafe as well. And I think in first to twos and also longer sets as well, taking those risks that can get you killed or that gets huge chunks taken off can really hold you back, especially in this season, because in this season you have like between 1 to 5 major choices around, and if one of them ends up getting you huge chunks taken away, I think that's something that really can hold you back this season. Is why I think Ling is held back this season. Still not a terrible character, but I do think, you know, still strong in that A tier, you know, great rage drive, and you know, the mix up potential and everything going for her. I think that the damage is and the risk is really what holds her back, in my opinion. And next up, the last character to go in A tier is the character I had to get so much help from other people and asking where to place him. That's Ganryu. I don't know much about this character at all. From what I've played, he seemed like a strong character, but from what I've heard, he has a lot holding him back. You know, no 10 frame jabs. He does have his 10 frame headbutt knocked down. His jabs are actually 12 frames, making them more plus as well and stuff. He's a generic 15 frame launcher which he can make safe with follow-ups, but they are high, so duck them. I don't really know much about Gary, to be fair. I'm still labbing the character. I'm still getting prepared for because we're still in the off season right now, so I'm still getting prepared and all that. But as I learn more about the character, I'll be able to give a more informed opinion. And that's going to do it for the A tier. Next up, we're going to the B tier. And at top of the B tier, we have Anna. Anna, a character who is like notoriously low tier in this game. You know, a lot of Anna players complain about this. Her hitboxes aren't good. Her punishment very definitely isn't good. And I think her redeeming qualities are her damage and her mix-up potential, and I think that's really it. Like, her combo damage is amazing in this game, don't get me wrong, and obviously the full crouch mix is one of the scariest in this game. Full crouch down for 2 while standing 2, and just all the other options as well, and just, you know, when she's just dashing in your face and stuff. I think those are her redeeming qualities, because, you know, once she, like I said, the major decisions in this game are so important that once you get them right with Anna, you're gonna put your opponent in the world of hurt. But obviously there is the risk associated with it, you know, with a lot of her, you know, her down back 3 on launch punishable, full crouch down forward 2, launch punishable and stuff like that. So it does make her, you know, a proper 50-50 risk reward character, and the decisions aren't going your way with Anna. It is painful, but if momentum gets on her side, you know, who knows, things can be completely different. And next up we have Lucky Chloe. Another character who damage is so important for, you know, her Kali roll is, you know, I think the most damaging starter in the game. Does great damage. I think it does over 100 damage with wall, which I think is crazy. But other than that, she doesn't have a lot going for her. You know, her punishment's okay. She has one of the, I want to say best, but it's also worse, is launch punishable in her hop kick. Obviously, she does neutral hop kick. Some characters down for 2s won't reach, but it crushes so much, which is what makes it so dangerous. But yeah, there's not really a lot going for Chloe, I don't think. Like, even in back turn, you know, she has, you know, the Kali roll or the down 3+4. If you block the down 3+4, you launch, and then a lot of characters have Kali roll option selects, meaning if she goes for it, she can die for it. So another risk reward character, but I feel like, you know, she's really not that good this season, I don't think. And then next up, another notoriously not that good character is Lars. buff Lars. And then next up we have Feng. Now when it comes down to Feng, he is a character who I play against quite a bit. I have quite a few friends who play Feng, and when I play against this character, one thing that's glaringly obvious about this character is his tracking is so garbage. Like when he is approaching you, just sidewalk left, sidestep left, and you're going to evade the majority of his options and just launch him for it. And I think that like it's so glaringly obvious to me that this character just needs something going for him. And also the worst top kick in the game, because this range is just so poor, meaning the character is something -15, -16 and above maybe. Like Feng cannot launch you for it. He has to punish with shoulder, which I think in this game means, you know, you can take those risks against Feng. You really can. Obviously he has strong pokes, and I think his 4-1+2 is 17 frames, so he does have access to a 17 frame high homing launcher. But those things I think really do hold you back in this game, meaning it can be quite simple to play against Feng. He does have good tools and stuff like his back one, and you know his lows are quite good, but I do think it makes it quite easy to play against Feng, which, you know, when it comes to this season especially, I think that really holds him back, you know, if you just don't really have to work hard to beat the character. And then next up we have Katarina, who has fallen from grace very recently. You know, one of the more nerfed characters in season 3, which was weird. No one was really complaining about the character that much, but she got hit hard. You know, her down forward 1, which the thing with her down forward 1 change is something I think you can really notice when playing against the character. Nerfing her hop kick range and its crushing. Nerfing its crushing isn't too bad in my opinion, because, you know, it's something that shouldn't really do what it does, and it's more fair now. She still has good damage, she still good, has combo potential, but I think just nerfing her fundamental tools like that have hurt the character quite a bit, and she does struggle a lot more. You know, buff Katarina. Let's do it. Next up we have Eliza. Eliza character, just play Walrus. Just play a Walrus stage against Eliza. Just do it. Just do it. Next up we have Lily. Lily, a character who got hurt bad this season. I've been talking to Solid Rose a lot, who's a very, very strong Lily player from the UK, and what he found was that with Lily, in season 2, with buffing QCF 3+4, the homing high down, with buffing it the way it was in season 2, your Lily players are basically told you should be doing this move. This is the move you should be doing all the time, over and over. Like, that's what they were told. And then by nerfing it in season 3, you've sort of taken away one of her best tools, which was given to her retroactively after the game had begun, and also adding these useless moves that don't really do much for the character. She's in a very weird state right now where she's, you know, needs to be fixed. I've seen clips of like her down forward 1 and just not hitting sometimes. Her jab's still quite good, but, you know, other things have been holding her back. She still has, you know, good lows, you know, great ways to open you up, but I think she has so many issues right now that the character is broken. Like, not broken like Leroy, but broken as it needs to be fixed. Like, something needs to be done to help this character. Next up we have Armor King. Initially I wanted to put Armor King in Help Me tier. Because this character needs help. There's so much going wrong with him. But like when you see the other characters left in B tier, I was like, you know what, let me leave Armor King in B tier, because I don't think he's that bad. But Armor King is bad. His tracking is awful. His lows are not great. Obviously he has a great throw game, but if you can break throws, you're fine. His combo damage is good, but boy howdy, there is not much going for this character. Just sidestep right or left, you know, do whatever you want against him and you're fine. Like a bit of Armor King is truly the jack of all trades, master of none. He doesn't excel in anything in this game, but he can do everything in this game. Like, it's really a pain watching this character just exist. He's fun to watch, but oh god, he's boring. No, that wasn't, I contradicted myself. But either way, god, let's help Armor King, please help him. Next up we have the Bears. And then in Help Me tier, we have Eddie and Gigas. These are two characters who really and truly, there's not much going for them. Everyone knows about Gigas' problems, but Eddie as well, I think really doesn't get talked about enough. There's just nothing going for this character at all. Like, Eddie is basically always taking risks, and this is his reward for all the risks he takes. This is it. This is what you get for being Eddie when you take that risk. Like, yeah, they gave him a new Punisher, but it's punishable on hit, and there's just so much going against Eddie. And I don't need to say anything about Gigas, do I? By far the worst character in the game. But I do think Eddie seriously needs help, and so does Gigas, and I hope they get it. I hope they get it. I hope in the update coming up, I hope they get it. Before Tekken World Tour starts, I hope they get it. I really do. I really do. So that's going to be it for my tier list. I hope I kept this video to a reasonable length. I probably didn't. But yeah, thanks for checking out this video. Please like and comment and subscribe and follow me on Twitch. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.